All right, rolling out.
2021 marked the 10th running of the Ochoco Challenge, an off-road camping trip that I lead every year through Central Oregon. 2012 was the first year I led a group to the Ochoco National Forest. It was also the first and last year I brought a trailer. In 2013, I drove an old Tercel with over 300,000 miles on it. It performed pretty well, but its passenger-rated tires did not. 2014 saw me back in the Land Cruiser, and a few folks came on bikes. In 2015 was the first year kids came along. I wasn't able to resist the lure of a 4-cylinder wagon and completed the trip in a 1989 Volvo, though not without more P-rated tire trouble. In 2016, the group had grown quite a bit. I took the Volvo again, this time with BFG all-terrain tires. I didn't have a single flat, but I did ingest a few gallons of creek water hydrolocking my poor engine. I was able to get it running again, and it survived for another 200 miles. 2017 included a stop in the center of Oregon, and more things that I like. Good roads and good company. 2018 marked our first trip through the Crooked River National Grasslands. The first time we saw a vehicle go home on a wrecker, and the second time we had a BMW M3 and Ford Transit come along. In 2019, I planned the route so we could cross the Willamette River on a ferry, ford White's Creek in our cars, this year no cars drowned, and navigate this perpetual mud hole in the Ochoco National Forest. My original 2020 plans were stymied by the pandemic, but we made the most of it visiting the Ochocos again, before heading east for Glass Butte. You can find a link to the video I made of that trip below. This year I made it big, a week long and over 1,000 miles, with 4 World War II history sites and as many swimming and fishing stops as I could cram in. We left Portland, Oregon on a Sunday morning, headed south on Interstate 5. Our first stop was the rest area in Oak Ridge, where we stopped for a quick lunch before continuing south. We filled up our tanks in Klamath Falls before continuing to the Topsy Campground on the J.C. Boyle Reservoir. I was a little surprised that all the sites were still full on Sunday afternoon, but we were able to find a dispersed camping spot nearby and settled in. Fire restrictions meant no campfires, so none of us had too late a night. The next morning, I was up early and found that we had a visitor in our camp. I left her alone and spent a while at the water's edge, checking out the pelicans and enjoying the quiet. By 9 o'clock, we were lined up along the Topsy Grade Road, ready to head south into California. We stopped at a beautiful vista spot high above the Klamath River, taking some time to stretch our legs and take some pictures. The road turns from dirt to gravel as we continued on to Picard Road, which eventually brought us to Doris, California, home of the tallest flagpole west of the Mississippi at 200 feet. When it was built in 1996, it was the tallest in the U.S., but now the tallest crown resides in Sheboygan, Wisconsin at a lofty 400 feet. This was not the first trip to Doris for some of the crew. Our next stop was the Tule Lake Museum. We had a picnic lunch in the grass outside the museum before heading inside to check it out. The museum focuses on local Tule Lake and Butte Valley history and has a variety of exhibits, like a 4-barreled shotgun, an old typewriter, Modoc Indian information, a 2-headed calf, a puma. In the courtyard, there are old wagons and tractors, and a guard tower and barracks building from the Tule Lake Relocation Center.
Evacuation. More than 100,000 men, women, and children, all of Japanese ancestry, removed from their homes in the Pacific Coast states to wartime communities established in out-of-the-way places.
During World War II, all people of Japanese ancestry living on the West Coast were interned in relocation camps for the duration of the war. Tule Lake was the largest of these camps. The barracks at the museum shows how the interior looked back when the camp was in operation. There is a marker on Highway 139 in Newell, California, about 8 miles from the museum, at the site of the actual camp. After leaving the Tule Lake National Monument, we headed north again, back into Oregon, destination Gerber Reservoir. The reservoir and dam are named after Lewis Gerber, the local rancher who sold the land on which the dam was built. Arriving on a Monday meant we pretty much had the campground to ourselves, and we pulled in early enough in the day to allow lots of time for exploring, swimming, and relaxation. In the next episode, I make some stir fry, we visit a petroglyph site, relax in a hot spring, and we visit another World War II history site.
This is one of the Japanese paper balloons, identified by the code name Paper.
Thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed it. Links to all the places we visited are listed below. See you next time.